We've got a German player, Jeremy.
What's your name?
Move my guitar a little bit out of the way. Then you can speak a little bit closer.
Where do you usually play?
We don't really. We don't really. Gone to somewhere, very famous, somewhere in the Caribbean. So, what's happening there? We got into lockdown. So that's when it kind of started. Then we've got other gigs, lives, but
Chess,
yes.
EVs, and the guy did it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Years, but I don't really know him. But Jason Lee.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm almost at my house. Excuse me, I've just been in meetings.
Very nice.
Yeah, that is good.
Sorry.
You're professional.
What is this? And money from in my demand. Did I? But did I? Yeah, about 25 years. That's all I. That's all I did. Yes. That's all I.
Of course, got some company for you. And you got to tell it.
Excuse me. Hello. Shabbat Shalom. Good. Well, das ist von meiner Aussicht.
Check.
So. Jackie, would you like to light the candles? Are you sure? Maureen, would you?
Do you want to do? Do you want to do?
This.
Do you want to do a little intro, or we just come straight in? Get Keith can get into the groove.
No, it's about you on the side. That's why I see.
It will be.
But then you saw. No, for the shoe, yeah, because I read the things. I'm sure you can see it for yourself.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here? No.
Strip it. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to this combined service between Beit Emanuel and Beit Luria. And special welcome to Jackie Icahn. Hello, Jackie. Special welcome to you. Welcome back. Nice to see you here. Nice to see everybody else and all those people on Zoom. We start on page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abides. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and the days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abides. And Tula and Brian, welcome song, please.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey,
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey. במצוות ונסיבנו, תורה, so be the race, sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
My thoughts shaking shadow bemitzvot, shaking shadow bemitzvot, Sivan, lay Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. Shaking shadow bemitzvot, shaking shadow bemitzvot, Sivan, lay
This is a virgin of summary of the believers who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Please be seated. So the service at Beit Luria is a bit different to the traditional service at Beit Emanuel. Rabbi Julia was going to help out on the service or take the service from her island, St. Thomas, but you won't believe it. They also got electricity problems and their generator's not working. So we'll have to excuse her. But if I can just introduce Michelle Goodman, who's the vice chair from Beit Luria, and Tula and Brian, who are the musicians from Beit Luria. And there we go. So please turn to page 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Please turn to page 135, and Tula will lead us with Romamu. Thank you, and as I said, it's very music intense, the service, so please turn straight away to Lechado D on page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamo v'sachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem l'tiferet ve'litchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'mincha ki mekor habracha mirosh mikedem nesucha so'ok ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Hitorori, hitorori, ki ba'orech uri uri, uri uri, shivda be'eri, kivod Adonai alayich niga. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Please rise. Boy v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'zola toch emunei ham segula. Boy chala, boy chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
Thank you. Please be seated, and we continue on page 140 with Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד הבוקר חסדך Shabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
איש באה לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין עצות, צדיק כתמה.
Tzadik katima yifrach ben frach, tzadik katima yifrach, tzadik katima yifrach ben frach, tzadik katima yifrach. Ke'eres balevanon yisfe, ke'eres balevanon yisfe, ke'eres balevanon yisfe. Ke'eres balevanon yisfe, ke'eres balevanon yisfe, ke'eres balevanon yisfe. Shittim Beit Adonai, Shittim Beit Adonai, Shittim Beit Adonai, Shittim Beit Adonai. Bechasrot Eloheinu, Bechasrot Eloheinu, Bechasrot Eloheinu, Yafrihu. Bechasrot Eloheinu, Bechasrot Eloheinu, Bechasrot Eloheinu, Yafrihu.
Please now turn to page 145 in the middle, English. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest my routine set in my ways. And now please turn to the Baruch Hu, and please stand if you're able on page 146.
Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. La la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. La la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam ha'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam ha'ed.
Please be seated and turn to page 148 for Ma'ariv Aravim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Moving on to page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Page 150, Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושופטנו, ומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו, לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל.
Thank you. Page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me? Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We now come to the Shema, and different people stand and different people sit, so whatever your choice is, please let's carry on page 152. Tula. Page 154, V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol moedecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך וקומך וכתבתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. On page 155, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קודשים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. And turn to page 157, please. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to be a witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Thus shall we rejoice, as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 158. Mi chamocha.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'el Adonai. Mi chamocha me'edar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh pele. Nora tehilot oseh pele. Malekutecha ra'u banecha. Bokei olam lemoshi u'Miriam. Ze Elianu ve'amru. Ze Elianu ve'aham. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed.
The top of page 159, let's read together. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And moving on to page 160 with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu malkeinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'amidenu malkeinu.
164. Give us a place to rest, eternal our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Blessed is the Eternal One, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. And on page 163, we are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable, without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. And please turn to the Amidah on page 164. And Marian, are you going to join us? Come. Are you coming? Can we have two volunteers who'd like to open the ark and close the ark for us, please? Anyone? Oh, well. Cool.
Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imaot, U'mei Gula Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hoseh U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Amen. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Machayei Meitim atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv Haruach U'Morid HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh U'Morid HaTal, Machalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Samech Noflim Berafeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato Yishenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimitum Chayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata l'chayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Machayei ha'meitim. Amen. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Amen.
Please turn to page 173. Disturb us, O God, ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance. the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, O God. Deny us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us known that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temple are not shelters from winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. And now Tula will lead us on page 174 with Ritzeh.
Retzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael u'tehilatam be'ava tegaber u'tehileratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha.
We acknowledge with thanks that you are our eternal God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you.
ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים ידעוך סלע, והללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך לך נאה להודות. And now moving to page 180.
We reach for you, our God, from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen to the rain. Stand still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves. For a brief moment, listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware of Shabbat. Find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherished. Renew the covenant of an ancient people. We need a quiet place to test the balance of our days, the weight of our own deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. Steady us with faith. Quiet places and stillness where we will hear our own best impulses speak. Quiet places and stillness from which we will reach out to each other. We will find strength in silence, and with this strength we will turn against to your service. Unanticipated.
Please be seated and we'll spend a few moments in silent meditation. Page 180, Yehi Leratzon.
Yiu leratzonim refi vegion libi. Yiu leratzonim refi vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri v'goali. Adonai Tzuri v'goali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my redeemer.
Thank you. We now turn to page 371 for the prayer for healing. Ruth, are you going to read, or Michelle, the names? So while she's coming up, are there any names that people would like us to add to the list of those people who are sick or in need of healing? Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Refuah Shlema and a speedy recovery to Marion Bubley, Peter Danheiser, Belle Consalves, Nate Herskowitz, Stephen Jacobs, Greg and Ruth Jordan, Barry Levine, Kathy Singer, and Robert Ivan Thompson, as well as Leah Yobe, Jane Starfield, Kathy Singer, Vicia Sadowski, Arthur Bowen, Dawn Harris, Russell Lurie, Simeon Rubenstein, Lungile Mboya, Sue Krieger, Charles Lurie, Tamar Haim, Edna Peretz, Kay Bachman, and Mina Mapudi.
Thank you, Ruth. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them to a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Tula. If there's anyone in the Zoomagog that would like to mention any names for healing, please would you unmute and do it and say the names? No one. Okay, thank you. So now we're just going to move. Can I call my team up here, please? Can you just adjust the mics to see that they work, please?
Let's see. Can you hear us?
Okay. So it's the 29th of April, 2023. The portion is Acharei Mot and Kedushim.
Hi, Moses. Great to see you back in Shul again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
What are you doing in South Africa?
I came to celebrate Freedom Day with everyone in South Africa.
Before we go any further, let me introduce you to our musicians, Tula and Brian.
Hi, guys.
Thanks,
Welcome.
nice to
Thank
meet you. I've had the privilege of hearing them before. They're a fantastic duo. Tula's rendition of Ma'ariv Aravim that she sang tonight after the Baruch Hu was so beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Moses. Much appreciated. It's so nice to get positive feedback, especially from you. I think I'm going to put this on my CV in future.
So, I was thinking about what freedom means, and that freedom means different things to different peoples.
Like freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Will you sing that again, please?
Of course, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
So this comes from a song written by Chris Christopherson and made famous by Janis Joplin.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Tula. That's really deep and understanding and interesting.
Does freedom only arise out of desperate situations?
I suppose it does. It is transitory and a transitory moment in time. I was thinking about freedom in the South African context, and that Freedom Day celebrates the anniversary of the first opportunity for all South Africans to cast their votes in an election. But this was truly an amazing day to commemorate the relatively peaceful transition from an oppressive society into a democratic society, which came to be known as the Rainbow Nation.
Sorry to interrupt at this stage, but I want to share a joke about promises that are made by revolutionaries before they achieve freedom. So this is supposed to have happened when one of the leaders of the Russian revolutionaries was addressing a meeting and said, "Come the revolution, we will eat strawberries and cream." One of the crowd shouts, "But I don't like strawberries and cream." To which the leader responds, "Come the revolution, you will like strawberries and cream."
Exactly. The revolutionaries seeking freedom become the oppressors.
Is that like the book Animal Farm, Moses?
Yep. Some 30 years later, questions are being asked. So we got to vote, but have we been truly liberated?
Moses, what parallels do you see with your exodus from Egypt with the South African experience?
Obviously, there are many similarities. And you know, many people compare me to Nelson Mandela. In this context, the saying, some people are born great and others have greatness thrust upon them applies. President Mandela was born great and was an inspirational, dynamic and effective leader who miraculously worked for the relatively peaceful transition to freedom in South Africa. I, on the other hand, was chosen by the Eternal and had to learn leadership qualities.
So, in South Africa, we get one day to celebrate freedom. But the Hebrews celebrated their freedom with Pesach over 7 or 8 days, depending, and have lots of rituals. such as having sidarim, eating matzah, and having Pesach products?
Well, I suppose I attribute this to the fact that my leadership out of Egypt was, as the commercial saying goes, I was the first to market and had centuries to reinforce the Exodus. My books, the 5 books of Moses, have been a bestseller and have been published, studied, and used for centuries. And so I have a huge advantage over President Mandela and other modern leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and others.
Have we learned from history?
I was paging through your wonderful Siddur and came across a passage on page 163, which I quote, "We are the people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time."
Wow.
So, freedom means different things to different people and nations. It can be an epic transition like in South Africa, or it can be a personal liberation where someone moves from what they believe to be an oppressive situation into a different situation where they believe that they are now free.
Such as?
Oh, there are many examples. For instance, leaving a job and getting a new job, breaking out of a terrible relationship, moving to a new home to escape conditions in their former home.
I see.
But the most important thing is that people should capitalize on their newfound freedom and take positive steps to sustain this newfound freedom so that they don't allow themselves to regress or slip back into the situation that they had freed themselves from.
So what are you suggesting?
On a national level, I'm asking whether you in South Africa have taken the gift of freedom and maximized all that came with it to sustain the newfound freedom.
That's a profound question.
Indeed. I will now talk about the week's portions. There are 2 portions, Acharei Mot and Kiddushim, and they both contain a lot of information.
Why was it necessary to create laws and rules?
Well, we had just crossed the Red Sea and been freed from Egypt, where we had lived under the Egyptian oppressive rules. Our people were confused as to what is right and what is wrong, and the Eternal therefore set out some rules in these 2 portions, but also in other portions of the Torah.
Why are these laws not contained in 1 or 2 portions and are all over the place and seem to be out of order, and sometimes the laws have penalties attributed to them, whereas other portions the laws are just mentioned?
Well, it was quite a mission for me to write the 5 books of Moses. I had a full-time job in the day, trekking through the desert, sorting out squabbles, and the Eternal kept contacting me to say, include this, have you done that, put this in here, etc. So I had to do all this at night on parchment, and I couldn't make mistakes. I did not have the advantage of having modern technology to cut and paste and create spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations at that stage. And now I really don't want to interfere with my original work and refine it now.
I appreciate the enormity of the task. Did you get royalties?
Nope. Although Miriam, Aaron, and I did discuss this, but we decided we should set an example for future generations and disseminate my work free of charge, hoping that they would be a good guide for future generations and that future leaders should also not enrich themselves through their leadership positions. I start dealing with Yom Kippur and explaining when this would be held and how people should atone for their sins.
This is very useful.
Then I set out many rules which cover a wide range of topics, which are too many to describe here, but they range from charitable farming practices, paying your employees on time, being honest in business, honoring the elders, people, etc., etc. One of the concepts is not to put stumbling blocks before the blind. This simply this doesn't simply apply to blind people, but should be interpreted that you should not take advantage of disadvantaged people.
I never thought of that interpretation before.
I spent a lot of time describing how sacrifices to the eternal were done, the sacrificial goat, and also a whole list of sexual codes.
Sorry, one of these is that man should not lie with another man like a man would lie with a woman. Is this not homophobic?
You must remember that this was written centuries ago, and that we were a primitive people that needed guidance. Just like sacrifices are no longer performed in modern society, so the prohibition on homosexuality have become redundant and seen by modern civilization in a different light. The concept of people being able to change their gender was totally inconceivable to us at that time.
So, amongst these rules, which would you say are the most important?
Well, obviously the Big Ten. These 10 commandments are set out in later chapters of the Torah. But besides these 10, I would say that the most important principle coming out of these 2 portions is that, and I quote, "When strangers reside with you in your land, you shall not wrong them. The strangers who reside with you shall be to you as citizens. You shall love each one as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, the Eternal, am your God."
This is very relevant for us in South Africa today, as there is a lot of xenophobia.
I'm sadly very aware of this and wish that those people practicing xenophobia would, as you say, get the message.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I once again thank you, Moses, for such an informative discussion, and I look forward to our next interview.
Thank you all. It has been great to be here. And you have my email and my cell phone details, so we can set up our next interview.
Thank you very much.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay. So moving on now to the Kaddish on page 595. Thank you. Sorry, 1 second.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see the light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember.
And Ruth, could you please read the names of your tzad tonight?
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. May their memories be for blessing. Zichronam livracha. And this week we remember Greg Margolis, Cordelia Hunt, David Gordon Erasmus, Edmund Buckley, Dave Crowley, Harry Udelson, Gabby Kesley, Jack Swaden, and Eleanor Tates. May their memory be for blessing.
Is there anyone whose name, for those people on Zoom, who wishes to commemorate a Yortzeit? Please unmute yourself and say the names. Okay, so let's continue with the Kaddish on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yiriteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon v'yomechon, v'b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'galan v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha brichu, le'elam yinkol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei Adam v'imru amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Peter, can you get the youngsters, please?
We're going to sing Hamalach HaGoloti while we wait for them, Leonard.
Sorry?
Can we sing Hamalach HaGoloti while we wait for the kids?
Not yet. Okay, we're going to do the counting of the Omer. Sorry. While we wait for the children. Hayom shlosha v'yesrim yom shehim shlosha shavuot ashnei yamin la'omer. Today is the 23rd day, which is 3 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvot tov, v'tzivanu al sifrat ha'omer. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. So now, Tula, before you sing Hamalach HaGoel Oti, can I just explain what it is?
Okay.
So this is a passage that comes from a direct quote from the Bible. They come at the end of the second Aliyah in the Torah reading of Genesis 48, verse 16, when Jacob blesses Ephraim and Manasseh. And this melody and blessing is often used as a lullaby. So, Tula, please.
Hamalach HaGoel Oti, Hamalach HaGoel Oti mikol ra, yevarech et hane'arim, v'yikarev ahem shemi. Hamalach HaGoel Oti, Hamalach HaGoel Oti mikol ra, yevarech et hane'arim, v'yikarev ahem shemi. B'shem avotai, b'shem avotai, Avraham ve'Yitzchak, ve'yitgul harov, ve'yitgul harov, bekerev haaretz. Ve'yitgul harov, ve'yitgul harov, bekerev haaretz.
Thank you. That was really beautiful. The English of that is, the angel who saved me. May the angel who has delivered me, may the angel who has delivered me from all harm bless these boys. Let them be called by my name and the names of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and may they increase greatly upon the earth. And now we can do Yevarechecha.
God be with you and be kind to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'aseh lecha shalom, shalom. May you always know that God is close, and may God give you the gift of peace.
So, may God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. And now, Juliana, you can hand out the chocolates. Thank you. Can we do the announcements, please?
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for this wonderful shared service. Thank you, Len, and thank you, Tula, and all those people behind the scenes that have worked so hard. It's been a pleasure to join you tonight and be part of your service in this beautiful shul. So thank you. Now for the announcements, we'll start at Beit Emanuel. There's a service tomorrow at 9:30. And then Monday the 8th, Lag BaOmer at 5 p.m. And then the Sami Project, first and third Thursday of every month. Bring your Sami's fruit on the day before. And then for Beit Luria, join online for a Havdalah service on Facebook Live next Saturday the 6th at 6 p.m. Our next online service for Beit Luria on Zoom will take place on Friday the 12th of May for Kabbalat Shabbat. And for the late night owls, feel free to join Rabbi Julia Margolis later after midnight for her St. Thomas service on Zoom.
That's if she's got electricity by then.
Oh, let's hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. So,
Shabbat Shalom.
we're going to close with a closing song, Ki Anu Amecha. Tula chose us, and she'll explain why.
Thanks so much. And this is actually, sometimes people ask you this when you're a musician. They say, what's your favorite song? And then it's such a hard thing to answer because it's like choosing a favorite child, But this, I can tell you, is one of my favorite Hebrew songs. And it's usually sung in Yom Kippur. So, these High Holy Days songs, some of them only come around, for those special days once or twice a year. And this is one of those. And it made me think. I was reading on Sefaria.org. There's this article, We Need Each Other. That's what Ki Anu Amecha means. And I thought it was pertinent to our joint service tonight as well. And also this wonderful djembe playing, the fantastic sound, the technical crew. We are a community. We are a network. We do need each other. And it's actually a piyut, a liturgical poem. And it talks about the relationship and the many metaphors for the relationship between God and God's people. And it talks about congregation. It talks about, not just we need each other, but we need each other. So this one goes out to everyone here at Beit Emanuel. And thank you so much for having us tonight. And this is, like I said, my favorite song. So please feel free to sing along.
Shabbat
you.
Shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Tilla and Brian, for your most amazing music, and everybody else. And thank you, Beit Emanuel, for hosting Beit Luria. And please join us all next door for Kiddush and Light Supper. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos, thanks, Len. Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Thank you all.
Because I was going to hold game one.
Can you mute?
You just mute it off.
Not nice to make big lumps.